By the time surely man is lost. By the time wa al-asr surely man is lost. This video, inshallah, by the will of Allah, is going to be an introduction to time mysticism. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya Allah, Ya Nuru, Ya Allah, Ya Nuru, Ya Allah, Ya Nuru. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatih lima ughliq wal khatim lima sabaq nasir al-haq bil haqq wa hadi ila siratikal mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi wa miqdaril azim. We ask the help of Allah. We know that nothing good in this entire universe can come except by the will of Allah. Allah is the Lord, Allah is the ultimate master, Allah is the key holder to time. Therefore we ask the help and blessing of Allah. Anything true comes from Allah, anything false comes from the self. So, in the West, we are taught that time is linear. Like this. We think that time is linear. This is very problematic. We somehow expect growth all the time. Every single decision that we make in the West, in companies, in school, etc., is based on linear time. You start school, class 1, class 2, class 3, and then you end up in high school. Just go from one class to the next. Then you go to university, then you study, and then your career progresses like this. You're junior, then you're a senior, then you're a manager, then you're a senior manager. Everything is linear. Progression, even the way they run companies is linear, isn't it? We're supposed to grow, right? So like this. Starts steep and then it goes to a steady growth phase. So large companies, they expect that they are going to grow by, what is it? 2 to 7% a year. All the time grow. So our entire concept of time is linear. And we think about time linearly as well. It started by Mesopotamia. And then civilization grew, we had some bumps and so on, and then it grew during the Western age, age of enlightenment, industrialization, technology, electricity, and so on, and it's gonna grow into infinity, and now they think in 3,000 years we're gonna fly like starships. This is completely false. This is not how mystics view time at all. This is not a mystical understanding of time. Not at all. The truth is, time, let me put it here. The incense, this is frankincense, by the way. I ordered a large package of frankincense. And I got banned for it from TikTok, by the way, because they thought that it was drugs, but it was not really drugs. This is just frankincense. Has nothing to do with anything illegal, so I don't know. Frankincense is a very old type of incense, which was given to Isa alayhi salam by the Sufi mystics, or Gnostics as they were known during that time. Balthazar and the other 2 of the 3 wise men, they gave him frankincense. So this is a gift to the prophets. Anyways, time does not work like this. Time works like this. It goes like waves. Time is like sound waves. Time is like sound waves. Time works like sound waves. Growth, decline. Growth, decline. Expansion, contraction. Expansion, contraction. Life, death. Life, death. Birth, death. Birth, death. Winter, spring, summer, autumn. Winter, spring, sun, summer, autumn. Winter, spring, summer, autumn. Winter, spring, summer, autumn. So it has, to simplify, think of 3, because there are different waves with different wavelengths. So depending on how you want to calculate time, it depends on what wavelength. You have a small wave, that's the birth of your life and your death, okay? Birth and death, okay? That's your life. It's, what is it, 80 to 100 years. Let's hope for a long life, inshallah, if Allah grants us. So that's a small birth and death. Then you have like a medium time period, say 100 to 400 years. That's the birth and death of an empire. For example, the Roman Empire. I don't know how many, like you had the Western Rome and then you had East Rome, West Rome, maybe 4, 5, 600 years, something like that. Birth, expansion, contraction, death. Okay? The British Commonwealth, birth, expansion, contraction, death. Alexander's Empire, birth, expansion, contraction, death. Okay? That's a longer era or time period. So you have the short one, that's your life and death. Then you have a medium one, that's like the birth and death of an empire. Okay? And then you have a very long time period. A very long time period, which is like, say, 7,000 years. Some mystics calculated like 25,000 years, others like 7,000 years. Adam, from a deeper metaphysical understanding, means the birth of a longer time period. And the Yawm al-Qiyamah, the judgment day, is the end of it. So Adam, birth, growth, decline, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the judgment day. You understand? So that's a long time period, okay? Say 7,000 years. I know there are some who calculated like 25,000, but theoretically you can decide how you're going to calculate this yourself. So when we talk about the Adam in Bible and Quran, the Adam is the start of a time period. Adam is not the first human being. There have been many, many Adams before, because you have had so many empires before and so many time periods. For example, the time period of the dinosaurs, they were given rain. That was a long period of millions of years, and then they got all destroyed. Okay, that was the time period of the dinosaurs. You have ancient city of Atlantis and these kinds of things. The land of Mu expanded, then contracted, and were destroyed probably in a judgment day event. In the same way, this current time period has a birth, expansion, contraction, and death. So when you're looking at prophecy, a very deep understanding of that prophecy is that it starts with, the scripture as you have now, right? So you have Abraham, alayhi salam, Noah, Moses, Jesus, and that's a line of prophets, and it's sealed by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, but this is in this time period. This is in this time period, in this current cycle of Adam and Yawm al-Qiyamah. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would be then the seal of prophecy until the Qiyamah, until the judgment day. And Muslims who are not spiritual, they take these very literally, but let's have an tawil, esoteric understanding, inshallah. Adam, then growth, then decline, then Yawm al-Qiyamah, okay? Say that as 7,000 years. Then Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the last and final of that lineage of prophet. Then you have the awliya, and it's sealed by Sayyidina Ahmed Tijani. Then you have some end time event, and this is all in a time period. And then after that, again, and again, and it goes to infinity. This is it. You can also look at time as a circle. You can also look at it like this, but point is that you have this expansion and contraction, and expansion and contraction. And if you understand this, you will have a basis, a basic knowledge. Think about the three different time periods. 80 years, that's a cycle of your life and death. Then you have 300 years. That's the cycle of life and death of an empire. Then you have 7,000 years. That's the life and death of a current time period, or a current cycle of Adam and Qiyamah or Judgment Day. So this is it. And based on this, then you can calculate based on because there are so many of these waves, and many of these waves are ending now, these time period waves in this time period. The Mayan mystics calculated this current calendar to end, what was it, 2012, 2020? That's the end of an era or a longer time period. Some Sufi mystics have estimated the judgment day in 1500 Hijrah. Maybe that's a secret, but that's in one of the books of Maulana Sheikh Nazim. Anyway, So that's in these times. It's a little bit in the future. So as you can see, there are different mystics. I know that the Hindus, they calculate yugas. What is it, 25,000 years? So these are these long time periods, and many of these calculations are aligned right now, and it has to do with stars and you know, planetary movements and so on, are ending in this current time period, these years where we are now. So we are seeing a lot of contraction, and we are seeing a lot of cataclysmic events, and because we are on a decline, we are probably going to see more cataclysmic events. So as you can see, if you understand how to calculate time, you can correctly estimate prophecy. And this is why it is so important to follow prophecy, because the legend says actually that, and it's mystics and alchemists that actually understand prophecy. You see, I see myself as an ancient scientist. So what I talk is essentially ancient science, the way I see it. So it's math. Quran is math. Quran is science. You see? But the esoteric sciences become magic to the people who don't understand it. That's the thing. So people like me and people like us, we are represented in popular culture and fantasy as mages or sorcerers or wizards. Why am I a mage? Why am I a sorcerer? Why am I a wizard? Because these ancient sciences, they are esoteric, so they are not understood by people. So to them it's like magic. But when you understand it, then it's not magic, then it's just science, it's just math. You just have to understand the cycles of time. Okay? So this is it. And we see many cataclysmic events in this time period, and we do know the prophecies that are going to happen. And this is why it's so important to understand the lineage of prophets, okay? The lineage of prophets. Because for Sufi mystics and Gnostics before, Sufis and Gnostics are essentially the same. The Gnostics were expecting someone to come after Isa alayhi salam. So the time after Isa Jesus left, they were waiting for someone to come afterwards. And the legend says that there were actually two Christian mystics or Christian Gnostics who first, when they saw Prophet Muhammad sallallahu Nabi Mustafa getting his revelations, they say, oh, you are the one who is prophesied to come. Okay? These are scientists. They calculate time. They see, okay, he is the second last, but Isa alayhi salam said that there is going to come one after me. Okay, we wait and see the signs. This is the one. He shows the sign. It must be him. Okay? This is why it is so incredibly important. If there are any Hindu mystics here watching or anything like that, Buddhist mystics, you cannot miss the revelation of Quran and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu as the last and final messenger. Otherwise, you are going to miss Maitri. Yes, Maitri in your prophecies in Sanskrit. You're going to miss Maitri, and you're going to miss some of the prophecies that Buddha has made and those other people have made, because Muhammad is the last one. Okay? And after Muhammad there are no more prophecies. The Quran is the last holy book in this time period. It is the last holy book. So if someone after Prophet Muhammad comes and says, I have a revelation from God, you can reject it, because you know that this is sealed. It's sealed. It's khatam. Okay? So then we know it's sealed. Then you have the lineage of the awliya. That was also sealed by Sayyidina Ahmad Tijani. So they say the Tijani, he's the khatam of the awliya. Okay, then we know that's sealed. Then we know that those who come afterwards are not of the lineage of the awliya. Okay. So then we can also draw some conclusions of the saints that come after Sayyidina Ahmad Tijani, isn't it? If we follow prophecy. So these things are very important to understand. There is going to be a great war. There is going to be Gog and Magog. There is going to be the sun rising from the west. There is going to be the Antichrist. There is going to be the second coming of Isa alayhi salam. There's going to be the Imam Mahdi. Okay? Peace be upon Isa alayhi salam and Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. Okay? So this is why it is very important to understand the time, this time, and that time. Because if you look at Muslim history, for example, when Imam Tal was waging jihad in West Africa. He was spreading the way of Tijani and spreading Islam against the pagans. Imam Tal, many people believed he was the Mahdi. He was a Mahdi in that shorter time period, you understand? It's like you can claim that for a shorter time period, but maybe not for this one, isn't it? So by the time surely man is lost. As children of light, we want to be children of light. That is an aspiration, not an identity. We want to be ancient scientists that study alchemy and esoteric sciences like Ibn Sina, like Al-Kharismi, who they call algorithmi, who invented algebra or algebra. Like these Shams al-Ma'arif in the golden ages, the expansion of this way of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, golden age, Zulmun al-Misri, so many before. We have to understand time. It's very, very important to understand time. Hopefully this video is helpful. Allahu alam. Assalamu alaikum.